Virizion falls under the category of some of the useless legendaries competitively, and it's at the very bottom of usage statistics, but I'm gonna bring the thing some justice today anyway. It's kind of an awkward mon being a grass fighting type, and even its stats are a bit strange. It's got good speed with base 108, along with crazy special defense, but the problem is that its base 90 attack just does not give it enough firepower. But what do we do when we need more firepower? Click some Swords Dance, baby. A lot of the time we can find a position to set up in front of special attacks to tank them easily, and now by doubling our attack, we're kinda in business. It can also potentially switch into any dark type move like Knockoff most commonly to get off its ability Justified, which boosts its attack one stage after being hit by a dark move. I'm gonna run with a Lumberry to maybe give it a position to set up in front of something like a Will-O-Wisp, and then we're rolling. We've got stab options in close combat along with leaf blades that get the high crit chance, and considering we're deathly allergic to flying types, surprise stone edges come in way more handy than you'd think. Virizion's a mon that's basically never seen as a crazy threat, but today it's time to see if we can get it to slice some people up. So today we ask the brave question, what if Leafeon but different? People are always sleeping on Virizion, especially these days, but today it's finally time to show the thing some love, and it's actually a little more fun than I expected. So if this sounds like a fun time to you, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 400k, you could help me out, and with that, let's jump into the match. Alright, so first of all, this battle is a goofy one, and you'll kind of see why, but regardless, they decide to lead off with big meaty claws. And as I've got Empoleon, first of all, obviously, I'm in danger to an Earthquake, but this thing is in far more danger of an Ice Beam. So I'm like, you know what? They're probably going to protect. I've seen Gliscor do this a million times on turn 1. They're going to play it safe to get that Toxic Orb. So I'm pretty free to set up some Stealth Rock. We can hip thrust them over on their side, and we set up some rocks for free. So at this point, look, the Penguin has the upper hand still. While, you know, they get their little poison going, I can take at least one Earthquake from it, even if it's max attack. So I figure, you know, they probably switch out here. I'm going to then go for a Flip Turn rather than Ice Beam. I don't even have Ice Beam, but, you know, anytime you're looking at an Empoleon, it's always a threat. So it turns out they instead go for the Terra. They're going to go for the Terra Dark, which is going to allow them to, you know, take a potential Ice Beam. Also, the gameplay looking crispy as hell. The Switch 2 truly does just make this a completely different game. But they go for the Knockoff. Boosted by the Terra Dark. Got to get rid of my leftovers, which is rude, but I take less than half from it. And then as I go for a Flip Turn, I am like, well, okay, honestly, early Terra like this just generally sets me up to a point where I'm like, okay, that really allows potential sweeps later on. So much easier. No surprise Terras in the back. I'm totally fine with them going for the Dark Terra there. Also, because now, as I'm able to go Virizion, there's a couple different reasons why this is a good matchup for the Sharp fella. So, while they end up just going for the Protect, just scouting what I'm going to go for, it works out nicely because I can set up a Swords Dance, and now you're not going to like me when my base 90 attack is all of a sudden actually kind of scary. So first of all, we get the doubled attack, but also I have now a super effective close combat. After a Swords Dance probably knocks the thing out, but also if they wanted to go for a knockoff, that just gives me a free Defiant. They do not, however, and I just go ahead and beat the hell out of him like Bob Ross to his paintbrush, and that is a dead Gliscor. So honestly, taking care of that thing early, they've got rid of their Terra. And honestly, looking at their squad, Virizion has a pretty nice time, especially since I found myself a position to get up a Swords Dance. We're looking pretty good. So, as they end up switching into Blaziken, the main thing I'm worried about here would be a Protect, get a Speed Boost, and then like a Brave Bird. But as they do not Protect, as +2 close combat just goes ahead and beats the devil out of that too. So, I mean, we got some tenderized spicy chicken, and that just straight up takes care of it. So with Blaziken out of the way, now, I mean, we're kind of schmoving with the Leafeon real early. Now, as they end up going into Hisuian Samurai, this thing does end up outspeeding, and that means that it's definitely Choice Scarf. So while they go for the Sacred Sword, gets the crit, it's going to be their highest damage on me, I'm able to live, beat the hell out of it with another close combat, and just like that, half the squad has been Virizion. Most of the time, this thing functions as a better kind of like late game sweeper with a position to set up a Swords Dance, but you get it going early, and Buddy's fighting for his life over here. Now, as they go Frostmoth, I do have Stone Edge, but also a +2 close combat without snow, it's going to kill it. So they decide they're just going to head out, which Buddy has been Virizion to the point where he's probably just, he's out of there. So look, that was a quick little teaser for you. Now, that's going to bring us into game number 2. And this is one we do see out to the end. And you know, I mean, not every game's gonna happen where Virizion just pops off early, but we're gonna see if we can get the thing to do some stuff against a very scary team that has some interesting threats. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one. Alright, so this time my opponent leads off with Cinnamon as the Winamon-ass Golden Go. And honestly, I did not expect that as a lead because as I've got Empoleon out of here, I figure I can take at least one attack. If it's got Thunderbolt for coverage, that's fine. I'm going to get my Stealth Rock up and do my Penguin thing. Now, they do just go right for the T-Bolt, and it does a lot, obviously. Empoleon, you know, you get about zapped as hell. And while I do Pelvic Thrust, some Stealth Rock over there, it's, I'm now kind of in danger. The problem is, my best kind of special tank is going to be Cryogonal. And an Ice type, I mean, while I can switch into a Thunderbolt, I don't think that is Specs damage, so it's probably not locked into T-Bolt. But looking at it, I'm like, you know what, I don't have a whole lot of options here. The Golden Go lead kind of puts me in a position where, right off the bat, I'm a little bit not doing so great. But I go into the Snowflake anyway, and it turns out they go for a Nasty Plot, which is bad. While I'm Assault Vest, I figured I could take the combo of like a Thunderbolt and a Make It Rain, but now that it's got a Nasty Plot, Buddy's thinking nasty thoughts over there, and I do not necessarily want to waste Cryogonal. Also, the fact that I can't really touch that thing in return, so I probably should not have gone into it, and now I'm like, well, this is fine. I'm now just gonna go right back into Empoleon for some sweet coin-filled death. Actually, as I come in, I leave it with 9, which is kind of sweet because, you know, they Make It Rain right after the Nasty Plot, so now it's a little bit negated. They also now have to just finish me off with a T-Bolt, but honestly, I send the thing in for a sack switch anyway. I need to figure out something to do to this Golden Go because this turn 1 Golden Bastard is really giving me a hard time. So they finish me off with a Shadow Ball. We've effectively seen the thing's moveset, and now the only thing I can really do, at least safely, is go into Pelipper. Now you're thinking, hey, that thing's just running T-Bolts. And that is because, well, I'm gonna have to burn the Terra on the Pelipper. It's not often that this thing comes in and has to use its Terra. It's mostly just here to make it rain and then just like take hits with my big ass bill. But today feels like just about the best possible option to go for that Terra Ground. I'm thinking surely they stay in Thunderbolt, but instead they switch. I don't know what kind of crazy willpower Buddy's working with over there, but they swap out. Having that Thunderbolt had to have been speaking to him like the Green Goblin mask, but they do not click it. For whatever reason, they probably expect that I go for a Terra. I mean, I'm in an obvious Terra situation, so as they end up switching into Hydrapple, that's a really good scout on their end. Not only that, but now as I go Ground Terra, the Hydrapple has the matchup against me. So as I click Weather Ball, also this thing takes nothing from it. And so the Golden Go back there is, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a problem later, unless I can get a little something going. So I do know that I am going to be faster than Hydrapple, which is great. But as I go for the U-turn, I was expecting them to click some type of grass coverage. Instead, nope, they swap, they go into Moltres here. So now expecting a U-turn probably. I touch this thing, risking a little bit of Flame Body. The Rubber Chicken comes in, it does 1 HP damage to it. And I get the hell out of there. So at least now, looking in the face of, you know, a Moltres, it is in the rain. And while I can go into the Beartic, obviously this team is built a little bit around mainly trying to get some rain shenanigans going. Now I've got this Swift Swim Beartic. I'm going to go for the Swords Dance. Calling the bluff, the thing that does not have Will-O-Wisp. If it does, I guess it's still fine. I get up a Swords Dance anyway, but they just go ahead and U-turn. So Buddy is just swapping all over the place and kind of busting my balls. At least I'm happy I got the Stealth Rock for that reason, but I think it was heavy duty boots anyway. But now as they go back into the Golden Go, I'm thinking one thing. First of all, I'm faster. I've got my Swords Dance up. I am deathly afraid of a Terra, and it turns out they do pull out a Terra. Now, I'm thinking, first of all, don't be Terra Flying. That'd be cool. And it's Terra Flying. So, pulls out the freaking balloons, and this is not the type of birthday party I wanted to see, because honestly, I was so close to clicking Icicle Spear here. But every time I'm in a situation like this, I'm like, if they don't go for the Terra and I don't get a kill, I'm going to be so mad at myself. So I make the obvious play. They get the Terra to avoid the Earthquake, can finish me off with the Make It Rain, and down goes the Beartic, who is honestly set up in a pretty decent position to sweep there had they not gone for the Terra. So now I'm down 2 months for basically nothing, and I got to get a little something going. Now the good thing about this Golden Go is that A, it obviously used its Terra, but B, it is not going to have any power against something like Virizion. I also now have a super effective Stone Edge, but more importantly, I can get a free Swords Dance here. That's just because, you know, with that drop from the Make It Rain, if it wants to Nasty Plot, I'm going to be faster than it regardless, and this feels like a good spot to try to get the Viriz going. Now, their best defensive answer is going to be Great Tusk, who, you know, his tusks don't even look that great to me, but, I mean, it can tank a hit. Even after a Swords Dance, it should be able to live a Leaf Blade if it's defensive, but then they just swap out again. Now, I was first of all thinking that maybe they would go Moltres here to try to activate a Flame Body, but then I'm Lumberry anyway, so I'm totally fine with that. Plus, they don't know that I have Stone Edge for coverage here. So as I go for the Leaf Blade, Slowking comes in, gets a little bit of cut, little cut up there, but honestly not that bad. And then they swap out again. So I mean, fella's just straight up switching all over the place. Now, my best damage on the Slowking was actually Stone Edge. So as I go for a Stone Edge here, they swap into the Weavile, probably expecting me to switch as well, knowing that I can't do much to a Gloking. But then that thing is just met with an edge of a stone right to the face, and that's gotta hurt. So that takes care of Weavile, and that is fantastic news. Main thing is because Weavile was the only thing that could outspeed Virizion here. So now as they end up going into Hydrapple, of course, anytime I'm in the face of a special attacker, I'm gonna click SD. It's kind of just a free Swords Dance here, because I know I can live any attack it throws at me. Now, as they end up going for the Fickle Beam, it of course gets the all-out attack. So pulls out the extra heads, which is just rude. And I mean, thank God we're so naturally specially defensive that I'm able to at least live it, which is really kind of all that I needed. Because now, after another Swords Dance, you can beat the shit out of that apple, and now there is now I'm a little bit sticky on my hooves, but I mean that's gonna knock out the Hydrapple in a clean one hit. So at this point, look, we're faster than everything considering we took care of the Weavile, and I kind of have coverage that is feeling good. So the problem is, as they go Golden Go, I need to connect on a Stone Edge. But luckily, this Virizion got a fresh prescription. Got the glasses on. We can connect. And thank God, while the Terra Flying ended up hurting us there versus the Beartic, it helps me out with the Virizion. So the Stone Edge takes care of it. Down goes the Golden Go. And honestly, Viriz is in a great position here, barring any Stone Edge misses, which would suck. But they go Moltres here. They have no Terra. I connect on another Stone Edge. And I'm like, ah yes, Virizion, my favorite rock type. So very satisfying taking care of... Honestly, Amon that very easily walls me if I don't have Stone Edge coverage, but thank God we do, and the Viriz is popping off a bit. So the Glow King is one thing that I am like, I've used up too many Stone Edge connections here. I'm gonna surely miss if I click it again. I decided to go for the Leaf Blade on the chance that I get the crit, but mostly I've kind of busted the team to the point where I think I can pull this back with what I've got left, even with just the chip on the Galarian Slowking there. So while they do finish me off, I do not get the crit with the Leaf Blade, but I do great chip to the thing, to the point where now I'm feeling like, hey, I can just go Pelipper, and looking like a fool with the earth on my head, I can go for a Weather Ball. In the rain, I'm thinking this thing's probably specially defensive, but I might get a kill anyway. I go ahead and throw some balls at this thing's face, and it lives it with like 1 HP, because literally, of course. And then the worst case scenario is that they have the Slack off, so now I'm punished, because now they're just back at like over half, and I'm like, well, I need to probably get out of here. I was thinking maybe they end up swapping there, so I click U-turn. Turns out they do stay in. U-turn is going to allow me now at least to pivot into the late game Alomomola. Now hear me out. Every other one of these damn things you've ever seen is fully defensive, but this one's a little different. So I am scale shot with a weakness policy, and I'm supposed to try to get fast and try to maybe be a sweeper, but it's easier said than done. First of all, I do go for the scale shot here, and at least hitting this thing on the physical side is kind of helpful. And since I don't have a loaded dice, I don't expect to get 5 hits. Turns out I get the maximum. I just straight up raw dog a 5 hits, which is kind of nice. Now that gives me a defensive drop, but it also boosts my speed, and now I'm feeling like I'm faster than everything. I actually might be able to outspeed the Great Tusk in the back, but they paralyze me. And honestly, you paralyze an Alomomola, you're dead to me. It feels rude. Now I'm just... I wanted this thing to get a little late game sweet early and finish off the last few mons. Now I figure I can go for a liquidation in the rain. Boosted might be able to do it. Unfortunately, it does not. And even then, they live, and then they can go for a chilly reception, which is annoying because that's going to obviously switch my rain over to snow. Now it just got a whole lot colder in this damn place. But their only other option to go into is going to be Great Tusk. So I'm honestly thinking, even with the defensive drop, I should be able to take an attack from this thing just out of pure thickness of fish. And they do go for the close combat. I live it with 22, which is sick. Now I'm like, please do not get fully parried. It will be so satisfying. And I don't. I break through. I'm able to get off a liquidation. And even with the defensive drop, it is not enough to kill it. But that amount of damage we got on the thing is honestly pretty much exactly what I needed. Because as they can go for another close combat, that's going to finish off the fish. But I'm kind of proud of the Alomomola. This thing is an absolutely ridiculous idea. But, I mean, it works out a little bit. I mean, Skull, honestly, I'd be much better off with, like, Surf. But, I mean, hey, what fun would that be? So at this point, things are getting a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Great Tusk is a threat. But luckily, I've got a full HP Pelipper who's just been coming in, making it rain all day, just carrying the weight of the world on my head. And I can guaranteed at least live an attack from the Tusk here. Now, they do have the Ice Spinner coverage. It's going to not be able to knock me out because I am about fully invested, and then I can fire off a Weather Ball, gonna be able to take care of the Tusk, and now we find ourselves in a spot where it's 2 versus 1. They've got the Galarian Slowking left, and it's gonna be able to switch back in a little more healthy than it left us because of Regenerator, I do believe, but I mean, it's still it's still looking pretty hurt, so that's pretty nice. I can now outspeed, go for a Weather Ball, and judging by the damage we had on it the first time, it should be able to knock it out. Luckily it does, and that is going to take care of the king, and that's going to be the end of the game on that one. So that late game got a little bit scary, not going to lie, but we are luckily able to clutch it out with some random shenanigans at the end there, and I had a lot of fun with that one. That was an interesting matchup. So I do have one more game for you, because why not? We're having some fun. I'm literally just messing around with random stuff. And look, if you've stuck around this far into the video, first of all, thank you. It's crazy that you guys, I mean, I can just ramble about random Pokemon stuff, and there's people out there watching, and for a long time. I appreciate all you guys. But also, hey, hit that like button if you are still here. And now we're going up against a scary Sun team. And honestly, I'm frightened. But let's get into it. Alright, so here's the thing about the lead matchup. Now, I know that they're going to go Torkoal as a lead. It's just the most logical option. And as I obviously lead off with probably about the worst possible thing that wants to deal with a Torkoal, I do that for one reason. Now, Torkoal is going to set up its Drought. I am just going to absolutely get roasted and toasted by any fire move this thing wants to do ever. But the reason why I lead with the Fortress is because I'm thinking, surely they want to click some type of fire move on this Fortress. So I can instead switch into the Dotspun, who loves fire. I switch in, they do go for the Flamethrower, and I just straight up well bakes my body, which is sick because now that doubles my defense, and Dotspun just like that is kind of a menace, dude. You're not going to like me when I'm double toasted, baby. I go for the body press here with the defense boost, gonna do a lot, but I get the crit also, which is nice. It does half to the Torkoal, which is pretty meaningful damage. You just got to slowly whittle down Torkoals to the point where they just can't get their sun back up, but as they set up the Stealth Rock, they realize, you know, they're a little bit in danger. They probably don't have anything they can really click against me, and they definitely do not want to. It can't possibly well bake my body any further. But as I go for another body press, they switch into Ceruledge, who honestly kind of walls me defensively. But the good thing is, I also wall this thing pretty nicely defensively. Now they go for a Psycho Cut, probably hoping for a crit. Doesn't happen. They take some Life Orb chip, which is great, because then I can go for a Play Rough, which does. Actually, literally nothing. But, I mean, I'm over here safely eating some leftovers, and we got a little apple-flavored bread. Feeling delicious in the sunlight, but I don't really have much of a reason to switch out, especially because I can just Wish and Protect and get all my health back. That Ceruledge is going to have a bad time. So, I just go for another Play Rough here, and they figure they got to get something going. The Dotspun is a problem, and nobody remembers that this thing exists. But, as I go for the Play Rough, I end up getting the attack drop, which is really nice, because even if this thing wanted to tidy up or go for like a Terra Ghost through my body press, it's not going to be able to knock me out, especially considering I've got that well-baked body. So, I now just go for a body press. It turns out, however, it's about the best mouse holder for this situation. It's not going to be the setup, and instead they go for the Super Fang, which just guarantees it does 50% of your health. And while I do get the satisfying knockout with the body press there, it does do half to me. And after leftovers, we're looking, you know, I mean, relatively hurt, but that amount of damage is unfortunate. Now, they realize they're going to have to hit me on the special side if they want to do anything to me. Now, as they go into the Charizard, the bad thing is I don't have any Stealth Rock up. But also at this point, I'm thinking maybe I can live an attack and get up a Wish. But instead, nope, I'm just met with some sharp air, and an Air Slash is going to knock me out. So look, Dotspun put in some work there, but now it's time to see what we can get going. So here's the thing. We see the Life Orb or the Solar Power on the Charizard there. I end up going into the Fortress thinking they did not have Stealth Rock up. It turns out, however, they did have Stealth Rock up, and that is bad. I fully thought that I was still going to have my Sturdy intact and then just be able to like set up my rocks as it switches it out with the red card. But instead, I'm just an idiot. They did, in fact, set up Stealth Rock with that Torkoal, and now I'm forced to switch out because I don't want to waste that thing. So I go into my Milotic here just because I can take a Flamethrower, obvious Flamethrower incoming, but also the sun goes away this turn, which is nice. And now Milotic, as I get my Flame Orb, that's going to activate my Marvel Scale, boosting my physical defense. I can now just go for a Recover, and then it's like no harm, no foul. You know, Fortress came in and it was just about half scared to death, but it's fine. It's fine. You bring in the Milotic and we're good. So, as I go for the Recover, that's great. It's going to bring me right back to full. But they figure they should probably reset the sun a bit here, and back comes the Torkoal. Now, Torkoal is a little bit of a threat with the Solar Beam, but I'm still naturally just specially defensive as titty, so I can take it no problem. And then I can fire off a Scald again. I just basically want to try to continually chip the Torkoal and allow them to not be able to set back up sun. So, as I go for the Scald here, it turns out they're going to switch into the Ceruledge. Now, obviously with the sun up, Scald's not going to do much. And while it does live it, it's still at least in a spot where it's not really going to be able to effectively set up a Swords Dance in front of me. And while I know if it's on a sun team, it's got Solar Blade. So while they are going to bust out the Solar Blade, little physical basically lightsaber solar beam. It is going to absolutely about slice the shit out of me. However, this is why we love Marvel Scale Milotic, dude. I can take that considering I'm burnt. That gives me that Marvel Scale ability. Allows me to live it, and then as I go for the flip turn, I probably actually should have clicked Scald there. But, I mean, hey, we live it, and at this point, as I pivot, I'm mostly trying to find a position to set something up. Now, my best bet is feeling like Cloyster. Now, here's the thing about Cloyster. I, obviously, you know, just get sliced up by a Solar Blade. But if I figure I can go for the Shell Smash, if I go for the Terra Electric, it's going to allow me to live that. And then, after a Shell Smash, all of a sudden, Cloyster's looking pretty good, even against a Sun team, which is satisfying. Also, this is, of course, not a skill link Cloyster. It's fully special attacking, which nobody expects. It's far superior to use, you know, a physical set with skill link. However, what fun is that? So look, I go for the light bulb, put the light bulb on my head as they click the solar blade here. I'm gonna be able to live it because I got good physical defense on my side, and as they're taking some more life orb, we're feeling pretty good. And then I can just go ahead and turn into a regular ass clam and then smash my shell. That animation actually, it only really works for Cloyster. But hey, we get the shell smash off. Now, the bad thing about this is, while I do have the white herbs going to get my defenses back to normal after the drop, I'm kind of worried that that did a little bit too much damage, and I'm mildly in danger to a Shadow Sneak if they've got it, but I figure, screw it. I've invested so much at this point. They do have the Shadow Sneak, the priority comes through, but I live it with 1 HP, which is actually kind of wild. I live it with 1, they knock themselves out with the Life Orb, and I'm like, holy hell, I just avoided death very closely. Now, I obviously Terra Blast the air, but at this point, Cloyster is faster than everything, and they do not have really much that wants to deal with it. And I'm thinking, hey, this is pretty good. Barring any surprise priority, all of a sudden, this is a Cloyster highlight, baby. They end up going into the Water Tauros. Now, Water Tauros does in fact have Aqua Jet, and I'm like, well, while I was super hyped about that 1 HP live, now I just wasted a Cloyster along with the Terra, and that's gonna finish me off. So the bad news, while Cloyster is not Cloyster's day, it's feeling like, especially against the Tauros, I can definitely bring in Virizion. Now, also what's good about Virizion is that my speed tier allows me to be faster than all 4 of their mons they've got left, so I'm pretty free to set up a Swords Dance here. And this is one of those games where a late game Virizion is honestly looking pretty nice. Now, they do have the Zen Headbutt coverage, but thank God I'm able to leave that, so I kind of didn't even think about Zen Headbutt at all. But luckily now, since I've got that Swords Dance up, I can go ahead and cut some beef jerky off of the guy with a Leaf Blade, and that's gonna take care of the Tauros. Thank God it was Water Tauros. The wetness of that beef really helped. Well, it really helped me there to grab a kill. So, at this point, they've got 3 mons left. It's gonna be a Torkoal. Obviously, they've got a Charizard, and in the back they have a Roaring Moon. So, as they go Torkoal here, they want to reset the drought, essentially for the remainder of the match here. But the good thing is, since I got my Swords Dance up, this Torkoal should be in range for a close combat to knock it out. And that is quite satisfying. Now, one thing is, they have not seen any of my set, or at least they don't know that I have the Stone Edge just waiting for this Charizard. As they go Charizard, they're probably thinking, hey, I can take an attack from this. I think I mentioned this thing was heavy duty boots earlier. I just don't have Stealth Rock up. But they're gonna be hit with a nice little surprise Stone Edge. Check this out. I'm able to outspeed. We connect on the Stone Edge. I've been lucky as hell on those today. And that is a very satisfying surprise kill on the Zard, because that thing definitely would have swept my squad had I not had that coverage. So here's the situation. Their final mon is going to be Roaring Moon. Now, it comes in, gets a Photosynthesis attack boost, which is interesting to know, because that might mean that this thing might not be jolly. If it's an adamant nature and banking on Dragon Dances, I can naturally outspeed the thing, and I'm going to roll it. I go for the close combat, and check it out. I do outspeed. It's running adamant, but it's Focus Sash, which is very scary. Now, with that, it's able to live the attack, and now what I feel like is coming is going to be a Dragon Dance, and I am all of a sudden very in danger. It is now basically +2 attack, almost, from the Photosynthesis. After that Dragon Dance, it is most definitely going to be faster than the Virizion, and I'm like, am I about to be swept by the latest game crazy Dragon Dance setup? That would be unfortunate. But then I realized, hey, hold on a second, I'm fine. They do finish me off, obviously being faster, but I have one thing on the squad that can save my day here, and it turns out to be Scyther. Because of the fact that I have the quick attack, baby, that Focus Sash bout gave me a heart attack, but as I go Scyther, I'm able to go for that priority quick attack, and obviously with 1 HP, that's going to finish it off. Sometimes you just got to slice off that one last HP, and that's incredibly satisfying. That's going to be the end of the game on that one. Shout out to the Scyther. coming in clutch with a quick attack. Also, go peep the Scyther video if you haven't already. But that was a really interesting game against some very scary stuff, and I had some fun with it. So, look, thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all, and I'm very much appreciative if you enjoyed the channel, and I'll see you later. Peace out.